Oh no, now the camera's blurry. Why does this always happen? Why does this always happen whenever I do things? Hold on for just up. Okay, now the camera's sharp again. I don't think I know how to fix any of that. Anyway, hello everyone. I know that not many people are here, but that's okay. I'm just gonna give it some time before some people can like drop on by. But it's been a long while. When's the last time hold on, let me check. Let me check or wecker. When's the last time that I've actually streamed on this channel specifically? I'm going to check. Last time I actually streamed 1 year ago. It said 1 year ago on here. So it's been a long while since I've actually did a live stream here on this specific YouTube channel. But yeah, to those who haven't seen the previous live stream that I did, this was like on my Julie the Idol account. And there I was talking about my new like upcoming idol concept and stuff like that. I go over a bit of the details on that. But in this particular live stream, I'm gonna be basically talking about my childhood memories and like things I've discovered after like doing a lot of like internal work on myself. So yeah, before I begin, let me just give me a moment. Let me just check to see if everything's working, because last time I had the stream, or last time I was recording, I was like really choppy and like I was blurry and stuff like that. I still don't know how to don't know how to use this stuff. Oh, I'm so sorry that I'm way behind the times, guys. You can call me irrelevant schmelephant. What is that Arthur song? Here on planet Schmelephant. Dun dun. I forgot. Something about a pink elephant. You guys know Arthur? Every day when you're walking down the block. I know I should get to the topic. But I kind of want to fool around here. Hold on. I kind of want to fool around here. Okay? So, like, not many people are on stream, so I might as well just, like, every day when you're walking down the block. Hold on, we're gonna pull it up. Here on planet Schmelephant. I'm gonna find it. Ready or not, here I come. You can't hide. I'm gonna find you. I don't remember the rest of the song. That song was familiar to me. That's the first song that came in my head. Arthur. Pink elephant. Where's the one? Arthur sings. Elephant. This one. Okay, hold on, here. Here on planet Schmelephant. Yeah. That was a kind of popular Arthur meme. Okay, I'm done fooling around. Let me get to it. Since no usually I have like one or two people commenting on here. But I guess it doesn't really matter. Popular Sorry, I'm just checking myself. I'm checking myself while I'm checking myself. Okay, stop getting distracted, Julianne. Stop getting distracted. Oh yeah, last stream I couldn't find Princess Coco's apple. Found her apple. I found her apple. Yay! I found her apple. Okay. Anyway, to those who are just like watching the playback and stuff like that, let me pull up my notes. So, last time when I was on stream, like, this might be or will be a common occurrence where it's if I forget to say something on a previous stream, I'm gonna bring it up in the next stream, because sometimes I have a tendency to, well, obviously you clearly see that I have stuttering issues, so it's hard for me to talk properly, but it's also hard for me to speak. What is that? I try to write down things to make things chronological or something like that. It's hard for me to speak. What's the word? Eloquently? Maybe eloquently is not the correct word. Does it start with an A? You know what I mean. I can't speak properly because I have a million thoughts that go on my head, like a lot. And then me like expressing that is really difficult, and it frustrates me a lot. So, if I forget to say something, or I wanted to add on to previous points that I had in a previous stream, I'm probably, most likely, knowing me, I'm gonna bring up old topics or return back to a topic just so I can provide more clarity on it. And considering the fact that some people may twist things, if they do ever watch things, because we all know how people are, this is also for me just in case to add further disclaimers. Like, for example, I know in last stream, I know that, I was like comparing like VTubers, YouTubers, and like other streamers and stuff like that. Cause you know how YouTubers, that's what I meant to say. YouTubers, whenever they blog, or what's going on here? I don't care about you, Adobe Creative Cloud. Shut up, Adobe Creative Cloud. I canceled your subscription. Anyway, that's another topic. You know how typically, what is that? YouTubers, asterisk mark. If you see YouTubers, they're vlogging, they're waking up in the morning, they're like, good morning, everyone, da-da-da-da-da. That's what I meant to say. I accidentally said the word VTubers, and I'm like, wait a minute, VTubers aren't usually known for that. So, my apologies, and no, I'm not trying to shame anyone who does any type of tubing, schmoobing, gadoobing. Is that even a word? I'm not doing any of that, okay? I just want to be separate from whoever does whatever. I also am still trying to keep up with current day trends. It's not even like a trend. Current day things that are going on in the world. Clearly, as you can see, I'm kind of a boomer whenever it comes to this live streaming stuff. And I tend to just like stray away too much from it because I have sensory overload whenever it comes to technology, and just like me dealing with things, even like these past couple years have gone by really, really quickly, and a lot of it is a blur for me. More often than not, I've been through like a lot of stress, so I can't even, it's not that I don't remember it. I try to force myself to remember things so much that I eventually start forgetting, and then that freaks me out because I forgot something. You know, you ever have that anxiety? Makes it feel really awkward. I hate that, because that's why I keep going back to things to try to remember things, because I don't want to make a mistake, which I have plenty of times over and over and over again. But anyway, speaking of remembering, this is what this live stream is about. This live stream is basically going to be a series. This is like the first episode out of multiple. This will take me some time because I'm still like retrieving some memories here and there, but I wanted to pinpoint like the main events that have gone on in my life leading up to towards the end of my adolescence. And I think it would be cathartic for me. I think it will help me open up a little bit more, and you guys get to know me me. No, you guys get to know real me rather than like, oh, Julie is just the singer. I think obviously there's more to people than what meets the eye, and we're all multi-layered, multifaceted creatures. So, yeah. If anyone has any questions, comments, and concerns, I will take breaks in between to address them. Yeah, but let me just see if everything's working well. Sorry, I keep checking over and over and over again, just to make sure, because you never know. Okay, yeah. Yeah, so if anyone has any questions, comments, concerns, feel free to chime in on that. So, the first thing that I wanted to add, as far as, like, me, who I am. So, my real name is Julian Infantino, for those who do not know. And basically, actually, while we are at it, let's see if I can pull up some photos, because I know that I have some photos of me. I have some photos, and then I can kind of just relay things to you guys, almost as if it's like almost as if it is like a slideshow presentation. You're in a classroom, and it's like a slideshow, you know. See, those are the only comments that's shown up on my live stream. Gosh. Okay. Anyway. So, getting to me, who I am. Yes. So, my full name is Julian Infantino. The real meaning of that name is youthful summer child. So, Julian would be like youthful. And then like the summer part, because I was born in June, my name was supposed to be Juliana. But because I wasn't born in July and I rushed out of there, my name is Julian. So, yeah, my full name and my meaning of it is youthful summer child. The reason as to why child is in the name, because Infantino, clearly it says my family name history there with Infantino. Okay, so Infantino, like, actually, if I can, like, read, yeah, I'm just going to read an excerpt of it because clearly it's pretty long. But the Italian surname Infantino is of a nickname origin, deriving from a physical characteristic or personal attribute of the initial bearer of the name. That's a lot of words. In this instance, the surname Infantino derives from the word infante, which signifies baby, little child. Therefore, the first bearer of the surname Infantino was someone who was identified by the members of his community as the youngest child of the family. Among the variants of the surname Infantino are Infantolino, Fanti, Fantini. I shouldn't be laughing at my own name, but I don't know, I kind of find it funny. There's like different variations. Yeah. So clearly this is a Sicilian name. So I am Italiano. And like Sicilians are kind of known for like getting tanned a little bit easily, but I'm kind of like the palest out of my entire family. So if I were to get like a lot of sun, like go out, like I get like pretty tan. I kept telling myself I'm gonna get like a little bit of a tan this summer. I keep saying that like every summer, but then like I've been like so because of, you know, CV-19 and everything like that, I've been like so closed in and stuff like that. But anyway, yes, all because my last name is Infantino and it means child doesn't give anyone permission to infantilize me or patronize me, because that's the thing. This gets me really sad and aggravated and angry, actually, because I really don't like it. Even though it's like, okay, yes, I like cute things, like I love my Build-A-Bears and I love, like, you know, frolicking around in the grass or whatever, doesn't mean that I'm stupid, that I don't know anything. Oh, great, now I'm gonna cry again. You know? Because there's just like many times where it's like I constantly feel the need that I have to defend myself, or that I have to like tell people that it's like, yeah, I'm 26 years old. okay? I'm still an adult, you know, I'm still learning. I think a lot of people tend to underestimate me simply because of my height. And like, I guess it doesn't help. Doesn't help. It doesn't help that I'm clearly very emotional. Like, I cry very easily over a lot of things. And I used to hate myself for it. But now, I'm trying not to shame myself for that. Because you know what? There are people out there that don't know how to cry. And that's really unfortunate. I don't know. I think the fact that I'm able to wear my heart on my sleeve and be able to show my emotions really easily, I think that's a strength that not many have. So I'm not going to shame myself and my existence or my name simply because of that, you know? So, very much a whoa man. I literally wrote that. Literally wrote it in my notes. I'm not a woman. I'm a whoa man. As in like, whoa man, back off. Stop making fun of me because of my height or because of the way that I look. Bajuba dabba luba. You know? It's annoying. Anyway, so I said this on my other stream on Instagram. But basically, my middle name is Cecilia. My middle name's Cecilia because my mom's name's Cecilia. I don't want my mom's name to be in my name, and I want to change it to Lenore. The reason as to why I wanted to change it to Lenore is because when I was in Catholic school, they were asking, what were they asking? I had an assignment. They were asking me to pick a confirmation name, and I have to base it off of a saint. Now, I kind of fudged up my I fudged it up, and I found, like, you know, not a credible article, because I was very insistent on changing my middle name to Lenore. Cecilia, even though it's a pretty name, is like the female version of Cecile, and Cecile means blind. And Lenore means light. And I was very insistent on the name Lenore for my confirmation name. So that's why I wanted to change it to Lenore. Yeah. And even though if there's no saints that are named Lenore, I don't care. I'll just be my own saint. Who cares? You know? Because you only live once. YOLO. I only have one existence. And I'm not going to name it after someone that, you know, that I don't even know. Passed away. I haven't even met them in person. So why would I want to have a name that's someone else's when I can have a name that I feel is right for me? You know what I'm saying? So there you go. That's why I think names are very important. And what you name things, because they always have meaning to it. Anyway, so the next thing that I wanted to let's see if this image is gonna load. I should have preloaded all of these images. Clearly, as you can see, this is me as a baby. I'm screaming, I'm crying, because clearly my face goes to show that I do not want to be here. The minute that I'm out, I said, no, I hate it here. Get me out of here. Clearly, I'm screaming here. And I was born June 28th, 1996 in Staten Island, New York. Fun tip I found out was that Christina Aguilera was in the same hospital. Well, I think she was born in the same hospital as me. So that was pretty interesting. My mom, she wanted 5 kids. And she told me that she actually wanted twins. But, you know, there was only like 3 of us. So it's like me and then 2 of my other sisters. And apparently, sorry. Like when my mom said this to me, when my mom said this to me, I felt utterly like weird and disgusted by it, because she told me that she had 7 pregnancies. So 7 pregnancies altogether. 3 were miscarriages. One was a stillborn. And I'm like thinking, because osteoporosis runs on my mom's side of the family, I'm like, that's so much like pressure to put on like someone's body, you know? And I'll get more into my mom just a bit, because like I'm actually kind of exposing my family in this live stream. And whatever they say to me, I don't really care, because, you know, I don't care. It doesn't really matter at the end of the day. Well, I mean, it does matter, and then it doesn't. You know what I'm saying? So, let's get to the next one. So, like, these photos right here in particular, if they're going to load, yeah. So this one is my Grandma Mary. Yeah, so this is my Grandma Mary, and she died, like, so I was born 1996, so she died, like, a little bit afterwards, after I came into the picture. And then afterwards, I was supposed to have a brother, and his name was Charles, but he died January 5th, 1993. So that was the what is that? That was the stillborn that my mom birthed out, and, you know, I was supposed to have a brother, an elder brother, I believe. So, yeah. Anyway, getting to the next thing. Sorry that things keep loading really slowly. What is that? So, yeah, me as a kid, I always felt like an alien, like, I'm cursed. Not trying to make this like a sob story, like a pity story about me. I mean, I guess you could feel whatever way that you want to about me. It's really up to your own discretion. I'm not gonna tell you how to feel. But I've always felt like this. Like, I always felt like I'm an alien. I always felt like I'm cursed. I always felt like, you know, an old soul stuck in a small body. When I went to a psychic medium a few years ago, they told me that I was a crystal baby or an indigo child. At least, like, that's what she told me. Based off of, like, what she was intuitively feeling, and then, like, the conversation that we had with each other. So, yeah. Like, just recently, I'd say, what is that? This is, like, about a month ago. So, about a month ago, I met this little girl, and her name is Sade. And, you know, she was just teaching me gymnastics and stuff like that. And, like, I was, like, asking her, like, how do you do this? How do you do, like, XYZ? Like, how do you do somersaults? And, she was, like, showing me how to do somersaults, and I was trying to follow her. And she's like, it's like you're flying. And I'm like, what? I'm so scared. She's like, don't be scared of it, you know? Well, I was, like, playing with her. And I don't know. I just felt, like, connected in that moment when I was, like, talking to her, because what is that? There are certain things that she does that reminded me of when I was younger. For example, right? She was trying to say that I was useless or something like that. And then I had to explain to her, you know, saying useless is a mean word. She's like, what? And I'm like, yeah, you can't say the word useless to someone, because that's a bad word. That means you're not useful. She's like, what do you mean? And I'm like, well, useful means you're full of use. That means that you're good. Useless means that you're not worth anything. It means that you're nothing. And she's like, it means that you're nothing? And I'm like, yeah. So when she felt guilty, trigger warning, when she felt guilty, she started hitting her head. And that triggered me, because not only was she very, she had, like, leadership qualities, but she also felt bad whenever she did something wrong. And, you know, I don't know. Just me connecting with her in that moment, just made me remember, like, the things that she was saying to me. Like, sometimes, like, there are, like, these walk-in spirits that are just strangers, and they can inhabit any type of vessel, and they kind of come to me, and they give me different messages that I need to know, that if I'm going towards, like, a certain spiritual path or something like that. And I just thought that was interesting. And, like, going into my whole spirituality and how this ties into it, I've been dealing with, like, a lot of involuntary age regression. So, me coming to terms with like all of these like repressed memories and like remembering all these past lives took a lot of strain on my body. Not only did it take a lot of strain on my body, but it made me purge like a lot. It made me like, I was crying for hours and hours and hours. I mean, this was always a tendency of me whenever I was younger, for me to cry for hours and hours and hours, even for no reason as to why. I would always ask like either my therapist or my psychologist or my doctors, like, why do I keep crying all the time? Is there something wrong with me? And they wouldn't really say as to why. Like, you know, if I had like a chronic crying condition, do I have a chronic crying condition? I don't know. Maybe I just, you know, I just feel too deeply, and that's really the case. But the reason as to why I'm bringing up my childhood is that the patterns that happened to me before childhood still to this day affect me greatly. Such as attracting neglectful and dysfunctional people. I believe, like, you know how everyone says, oh, you have to move on from it, or you gotta, like, you know, figure out ways to move forward in life, which is true. Sometimes there are things that you need to move forward on, you know, but I do believe that moving on is a myth, because the fact of the matter is pain will always be there no matter what. So even if people are triggering you in this present day moment, and it makes you remember things that happened like way back in your childhood, it's not something that you can erase. It's already happened, you know? The most that anyone can really do when it comes to remembering those, re-remembering those childhood wounds, is to just integrate them and just like allow them to exist and not shame them for what they are, because who you are is who you are, you know? So I just wanted to give that message out. The next thing that I wanted to go to, if this will so kindly load for me. Yes. I had to censor out their faces just for the sake of privacy. But yeah, like, I came from a low income family of 5, and very much struggling in poverty. I shouldn't even be laughing at this, because it's really not funny. Even like now to this day, it's like that stuff is like, I'm still struggling. Like, imagine that I can't even like, I'll be very transparent with my current financial status. It's like, I'm unemployed, dealing with like a lot of mental health issues. I get about $150 a month, and that's not a lot. Like, I stretch out the dollar like a lot, even though it's like, yes, I have toys, I have like things that I pretty up my house with. I go out and sometimes I get them for free, sometimes they're donated to me, sometimes there are people that just like throw things out on the street, like really good things that are on the street, and I just go and I just like take them. I mean, my dad used to do this, so I don't know. Part of me, you know, some people may think like it's pathetic for me to do that, but then another part of me is like, you know, a lot of people are just like so wasteful with their resources. Like, they take things like for granted so easily, and even if it's like broken or just like, you know, people may think it's junk, I still think like, you know, there's history to it. It's like, it's worth it if you like repurpose it in a certain way. There's like, you know, a way that you can reuse it. And I don't know. I guess like, even with me fasting and like not me having much money to like, I'm really not trying to make it like a pity party. It's just like, this is something that I've really been suppressing for a long time. I've really been trying to like cover up the fact that like, I've really been like trying to cover up the fact that like, I'm genuinely a quote unquote starving artist. Even though I don't really make art that much, but it's like, There are times where I literally don't have food in my fridge and I just sleep off the hunger. Or my heart pain gets so bad that I'm just like laying in bed and I'm like thinking, I just wish that I can die from a heart attack. This is very frequent, you know? Sometimes I'm scared to even like go to the doctors because of like fear of them mishandling me and whatnot. But, you know, again, this ties into my whole upbringing, is that not only were we struggling in poverty, but there was so much fighting that happened in this house. Like, I'm still living in the same house that I grew up in. I didn't have a room to myself in the beginning. Little to no privacy. I basically had to fight. I had to fight for a bedroom. Because at first, if I needed any space to myself, I would just take a curtain and I would have like some sort of partition somewhere in the house, so I had like a little bit of privacy, but it still felt like there were like always eyes and ears on me. And I hated the sound of knocking. I really, really hate it. Usually, because when you knock on the door, you ask someone in a quiet voice, hey, may I talk to you? Or it's like, hey, are you busy? But no, it's never that. It's always a loud knocking on the door, and then they immediately open the door. And the time where I did have a room, the room that I'm in right now, I had to like argue and fight to have a bedroom to myself. And all the time when I was holding myself here in my room, I would constantly be locking the door. I had to explain to my father. I had to explain to my father what introversion is. Because some people just don't understand what introversion is. You know? So, but I will get to my parents in just a bit. I'm currently estranged from my entire family. Like, emotionally. I have no connection to them whatsoever. I don't feel like there's anyone out there or in here or what have you that I can really call family to me. Maybe this ties into me feeling like I'm alien to other people. But then the reverse could also be true as well, where it's like, I feel like everyone else are aliens and they're really strange to me. Whether or not I'm on the spectrum and I have like some sort of autism, that's to be determined, that's to be continued. I don't know, somewhere along the lines we'll figure that out. Because I'm still, you know, in the midst of like taking therapy sessions and like trying to get a better understanding of my background and whatnot. So, but yeah. The next thing that I wanted to go into, if this will load, keeps it's so slow for me. Yeah. So what is that? Going to my mother. Before I get to that, let me just double check to see if my live stream is like actually working. Okay, it still says that I'm live. It still says that I'm live on YouTube, and then it still says that I'm live on Twitch. 'Cause, you know, I definitely don't want to, like, retouch on this subject again. I mean, like, I actually, no, I don't mind. I don't mind talking about the subject again. It's just, like, it's a lot of, like, raw feelings that are coming out of me. But, yeah, getting to it. So, I had a smothering mother. Alright? So, my physical needs are met as far as, like, okay, I was clothed. You know, sometimes I had food. Other times, like, she would, like, sit me at the dining room table, and if I didn't finish something, because I was, like, kind of a picky eater growing up, because I really didn't like the food that was made. I'm the type of person, your stream is working fine, and I'm watching it in my cell data. Okay, good. when I was younger, I was like really picky when it came to eating. And I'm also the type of person where it's like, if someone's like making food, I can tell whether or not their heart's in it, you know? Like, if a meal is made with love, that to me is like really important. And like, especially, I would like, and I'm sure anyone can relate to this, but it's like, imagine like you're eating food and it's like, even if the food is good, if you're eating it around people that you just don't like, it doesn't taste good. No matter how much you try to make it taste good. I just think that like eating is like really important as far as like bonding goes, you know, having the opportunity to gather around a table and like eat a meal. I never really had that, to be honest. Like, where it's like, okay, let's all like put our hands together and say grace. No, like, it's either like one or two people were like sitting at the table. It's never like, okay, the whole entire family is like there. We're there, like, you know, saying grace. We're praising the food, and then we're gonna like eat it, and the food is good. That only happened very seldomly during Thanksgiving. But even so, I don't know. So I mean, yeah, there's that. So again, on top of like my physical needs being met, to a certain extent, this was also neglectful to a certain degree, is that my mother was mainly emotionally neglectful. Because everything starts in childhood, as far as me being a baby goes, breastfeeding is like a huge thing when it comes to bonding like a child, like a mother and a child, right? And when you don't wean the child off properly, or when you, like, I say, like, cut it short, it does affect the security and the bond that you have to the child, you know? So, I think that's, like, one factor. I mean, like, that's one out of many factors as to, you know, my mom being, like, emotionally neglectful. And it's one of a big reason as to why I still, to this day, suck my thumb. Like, having that oral fixation is a way for me to kind of just, like, soothe myself whenever I'm either feeling bored or stressed. And I know that it's, like, not a good habit, but it's been a habit that is really, really difficult for me to break out of. You know, especially considering the fact that it's, like, I don't have a nurturing, like, motherly figure in my life. She would always like treat me as if I'm a doll, you know, like as if like I'm just her plaything, you know. I mean, she does say that she loves me and she does say that she cares about me, but to be honest, I don't feel it. I hate it when, you know, parents would always use that word, just like they would use that word love and they would just like throw it around and you don't feel it. It's so hollow, it's so empty. But like there are times where it's like, imagine if I'm frustrated or I'm angry, right? Anytime any kind of negative emotion starts being displayed on my face, she would either try to distract me with something else, or she would just leave me to my own devices and just let me cry for hours and hours and hours. On top of that, she's very dismissive whenever I speak reason. Like, imagine you're having a conversation with someone, you're talking like this, right? It's like, okay, yeah, let's solve things amicably, you know? I can never have a conversation where it's like, okay, I'm explaining things very clearly from A to Z, you know? These are my points, and yet still refused to listen, still just overall disrespectful in general. She always felt the need to like touch things and always lacked boundaries. This I will get to in another future stream of like the extreme lengths of how this would go. But there were multiple times where, because of her lack of attentiveness, her dismissive behavior, her lack of boundaries overall, this has put me and, you know, my family or my siblings in psychologically or even physically dangerous situations time and time and time and time again. And again, this is definitely something that I will touch up upon in my next stream. So, yeah. Like, in the Philippines, usually they kind of have like this crab bucket mentality where, and I don't know if this is applicable to all Asians. I'm sure this is like an Asian attribute, but it's like if you're not doing good, as in like you're not quote unquote successful in a certain degree, then you get degraded, you get punished, you get beaten up, XYZ. I wasn't really beat up by my mother, but I know that I was compared to like other people or compared to my siblings or just like looked down upon if I wasn't reaching like a certain amount. My grades were pretty good for the most part, but like if I wasn't reaching a certain standard, you know? But the minute that I exceed that standard and I do get better, it's like crabs in a bucket where it's like they pull you down, where it's like, oh, you think you're better than us? Oh, you think that you're smarter than us? Or something like that. The minute that you do gain some sort of like notoriety, and it's never in a like direct way that my mom would say this, but it would be in a passive aggressive manner where it's like I can tell that it's like you're trying to put me down in like one way or another. I know that's not your intention, but I don't like that, you know? So, and I can't deal with that. And it's like on top of that, and also like Filipinos are known to have like a very cheery, positive attitude as well. They're very forgiving as people. Even during times where it's like wars have like distraught their country, they tend to just, you know, be forgiving, and I think that's a great attribute to have. Though on the other hand, when it comes to their bubbly disposition, and again, I can't speak for all Filipinos, but I don't like their toxic positivity whatsoever. I don't like this whole facade of like, you know, just them being very chill and very lax and not, again, taking negative emotions into consideration. Because the times where I was living in the Philippines and I was displaying anger or sadness or frustration, it would always just be swept under the rug, or I would be teased for it, you know? And this has gotten me to the point where things have been pushed way too far until I start snapping. And it's like so hard for my pain to be visible, you know, for me to express my pain in a way where they can understand where I'm getting at. But yeah, so that's the thing with my mom. The next thing that I wanted to address, on top of like me being put in like dangerous situations over and over and over again, is for example, I used to have asthma issues. I used to have asthma problems. And I was put on a respirator. I was like put on like, you know, that albuterol solution that like I would put when I was like a child. And when I was younger, I was exposed to like dust mites, mold spores, and stuff like that. And this affected my voice. And even now, I'm not struggling with this as much because I maintain like better cleaning habits, but I still had to like cough up like a lot of phlegm on a consistent basis. I would be like a very light sleeper, so major noises like I have like very strong hearing, so like loud noises, really bright lights, anything that is disruptive would instantly wake me up. And I'm constantly, even now to this day, I'm constantly in a hypervigilant state. It's hard for me to truly feel like secure and like rested within my body, and it's really, I really hate it. And that's why I try my best not to drink caffeine, and I try to drink tea, and I try to like soothe myself as much as possible, because if I don't feel relaxed, I feel like I can't do things properly, you know what I'm saying? So what is that? So what ties into like my excessive crying, it's like also another thing is that when I was younger I did talk to like spirits every now and then, or more specifically my imaginary friend. That I'll get to in just a bit. But as far as like me excessively crying and me getting startled easily, there are many times I can't even count the plethora of times that I screamed every time that I woke up. Now to this day it still affects me, like if there's just like a loud or abrupt noise, or just like something that like is really, I don't know, I just scream every time that I wake up. It's hard for me to properly get rest. I hate it when people knock on the door as if it's urgent, but it's like not as urgent. I hate yelling across the house. I hate, hearing those noises all the time. And again, this is like constant, like, slamming the doors too, I sorry that I'm not being as coherent as I want to be, because a lot of things that I'm saying is still like re-triggering to a certain extent. But yeah, and this also ties into my constant heart palpitations that I deal with as well. So getting to the next thing, if this would load for me. So I used to have a domineering, not used to, what the hell am I talking about? I have a really domineering father, alright? Maybe one of the reasons it's not one, no, it's not really like one reason, but it's like, it's not really like a major reason. I feel like he's always been like this, but it's like he fought in the Vietnam War, and we all know the history of that. Well, I like to think that people understand the history of that, of it being just like an unnecessary like bloodshed and whatnot. So I don't really know. I don't think I've asked the fullest extent. I think I did before I asked, like, to an extent of like what he did in that war and whatnot, but I don't think like I've dug deep enough, or like part of me, I don't know if I'm ready for it, or part of me really wants to listen to it. But yeah, so he, not only is my dad like really domineering, but he has this Jekyll and Hyde personality where he's like really aggressive. He played psychological games on me. He physically abused me multiple times. Let's say, for example, if I'm going out, it's like, let's say that I'm going outside of my house and I'm playing with ladybugs or something like that. Or if I'm riding my bike, he would be so overprotective to the point where he would drag me by the hair. Sorry if this is triggering, but he would drag me by the hair. And he would, berate me. He would push me up against the wall. He would slap me. He would take the belt and he would whip me. Over like very innocent things. Like, you wouldn't scream or yell at a child if they're going out and having fun. You just simply wouldn't do that. He would be the type to do that. He would be the type of person to give me things only to just dangle it in front of my face and then just take it away again. And that really bothered me, because the things that I used to enjoy, let's say, for example, my yellow wagon that I would always play with, for some reason he would just like find ways to just get rid of whatever little joy that I had. Not only is that he does that, but he's delusional. I truly believe, and like I just feel it in my gut. I have no question about this, that when a few years to come he's going to have some sort of dementia. And by the time that happens, I'm completely apathetic. I don't feel any remorse whatsoever about it. Like, it's kind of sad where it's like, let's say my parents ever do pass away, that it's just like, I just don't feel guilty at all. I don't feel bad. I don't even feel like a sense of grief because I feel like I've already done my grieving. You know? I mean, like, of course, you'll always be grieving. But I, like, the good chunk of grieving that I've done when it came to my own parental figures, I believe I've done the most of that. I have nothing else to grieve because now they're just walking zombies to me. I can't go up to them and have a normal conversation. I can't talk to them the way that a normal child would go up. You know, like, I can't be like, oh, mom, dad, you know, like, I love you. I don't even want to utter the words I love you to them because I have nothing but indifference towards them. I have so much rage. I have so much frustration. I have so many questions. Questions that I know that they are not capable of answering. Questions that I'm thinking, is it even worth asking them? You know? Did I deserve parental figures that don't know how to let go of their pride? Do I deserve parental figures that constantly push me aside whenever I am pleading, begging them to treat me with some sort of decency? Not only that, they're not even willing to educate themselves or even want to get better. And that's why it's like, you know, I can't. So, like, you know, maybe some older people will come in here and be like, oh, well, you know, those are your parents, XYZ, you know, you need to show some sort of gratitude. It's like, yeah, I'm grateful that I'm here at this point as far as, like, my physical needs go and stuff like that. You know, I'm grateful for whatever little opportunities that they had because I understand that they were struggling to provide for me too. But I can also be at dismay at the same time. I can also be upset at the same time. All because I'm grateful for something doesn't mean that it takes away the trauma that they've given me. You know, it doesn't take away the fact that what they've done to me was indeed abusive. And it also doesn't take away my feelings on the matter of just, again, mere indifference. So, you know, it doesn't help that it's like I can't trust them to be like, you know, what have you. Anyway, while I am talking about my dad, I think, okay, this may be like a little petty, but I also think this is just important, alright? I used to love ice cream as a kid. I don't eat ice cream that much now, but I used to eat ice cream as a kid, and my favorite flavor was plain vanilla. And I would, like, clearly as you see me in the mirror, right, I'd be talking to my imaginary friend. Like, during the times when I was younger, my imaginary friend would be the one keeping me company, and I'd be eating ice cream together, you know? I'd write their name on the like, literally, there was a piano. There was a baby grand piano that was by my window, and I would literally carve out their name on the piano, you know? We would, like, draw pictures, like, me and my imaginary friend, we would draw pictures on the wall. We would, like, play tic-tac-toe on the wall together and whatnot. So every time I hear the ice cream truck that goes by, it just, like, reminds me of that time. And it also reminds me of when, you know, my dad would specifically, oh my god, he would get enraged at the ice cream truck. He would get enraged to the point where it's like, oh, you know, you're not supposed to be driving that around here because there's fumes, da-da-da-da, you're hurting my lungs. And he's, like, screaming at, like, the workers. Like, you know, typical boomer mentality where, like, they're just entitled and they think that they can just degrade other people, other workers that are trying to make a living. They're trying to make their own livelihood for themselves, and he just constantly treats them poorly. And then the minute that I try to like reason with them and I pull them off to the side and I say like, hey, you know, you can't be treating other people like that, he would go and start to berate me, you know? So now every time when I think of like ice cream, like I'm correlating it back to the times where he would scream at me for getting ice cream, eating ice cream, what have you. So now whenever I think of ice cream, I think of retribution. This is my war declare every time I eat ice cream. I'm sorry. I know it's like silly of me to think of, but that's like the only way that I can like kind of empower myself, you know? Even though I don't eat sweets that much, because sweets are not really that good for you. Anyway, here's something that's like a little bit, maybe just like a little bit more uplifting as far as my childhood goes. I used to deal with delayed speech, so the time that I was able to speak was around when I was 3 years old. And even now you can still hear that I have kind of a speech impediment. Like I would stutter a bit. When I actually was able to speak, quote unquote speak, I sang instead of actually talking words. And once I was able to talk, you could not get me to shut up. I would be singing on the bus. I would try to be making a lot of friends in school. And I would even like talk to my imaginary friends while, you know, I was like in special ed. Because I was in special ed school. You know. I was like in special ed school. The reason why I'm like clicking my tongue right now is because I'm thinking of a time where I was like kind of like agitated. I'm thinking of a time when I was agitated when I was in special ed school. Like I remember this like as clear as day. I like my memories going back when I was like 2 to 3 years old. Back then, what is that? Sorry. I'm really trying to retrieve my memories here. There are times where, like, let's say the teacher was trying to get me to speak or like teach me something, and they had like a plastic food thingy, and they're like, "Okay, what is that, Julian?" And I said, "It's a donut," and they're like, "No, try again." And I was getting like really angry, and I'm like, "It's a donut. Look, it's a donut." And then they were trying to say like, "No, it's a bagel." You know, it's kind of like, have you ever seen that image of like, it's I'm trying to come up with the image. I'm trying to think of the image right now. Like people having like different perspectives and stuff like that. That's how it always felt to me whenever I was, in that special ed school. Right? So they would be playing Bambi, right? I don't like Disney that much, but they would be playing Bambi, and I saw the incident where like I saw one of the clips where sorry, spoiler alert for people who didn't watch Bambi, like Disney's Bambi, but like one of the deer got shot or something like that, and that's immediately I got really angry and I stormed out of I walked out of the classroom when I was like 3 years old. I'm like, I don't like this. I don't want to watch this anymore, and I walked out, and the teachers tried putting me in timeout. This is always a common occurrence. They tried putting me in timeout and they tried lecturing me. Even times where it's like I wasn't even sleepy and they're trying to make me go to sleep, and it's like, I'm like, who are you to tell me? Who are you to tell me what I can do and what I can't do? Obviously, I was a very rebellious type of person. Yeah. So, and in that photo of me singing, I was singing, what is that? Oh wait, no. Let me go back to this. I was singing Lucky by Britney Spears. So basically, I really loved S Club 7. I loved Spice Girls. I loved Britney Spears. And like I had a love-hate relationship when it came to music in general. So my mom would try teaching me piano, and I remember being there for hours, Like, and those hours felt like days, and those days, like, it felt like months and stuff like that. But I just remember my mom, because she is a piano teacher, and my grandfather on my mom's side, he was, pretty popular pianist in the Oriental Mindoro region of the Philippines. So basically, playing piano ran in my family, but I feel like my mom would not properly teach me piano, or like she's just not good at teaching in general, and I got like really frustrated, and every time I touched the keys it just felt cold, and I'm like, I don't want to do this. And later on, as I grew older, the piano, the baby grand piano that I had in the front, I felt like it was a major accomplishment for me to dismantle the whole entire piano and just throw it out, and just like throw it out completely. Just like I was like plucking off the keys one by one, and it just like felt satisfying, just like getting rid of the piano, because I couldn't handle being stuck in that, like, is this the proper word, quagmire? I don't know if that's like the proper word, but I just felt like trapped every single time that my mom would sit me down, try to teach me the piano lessons, and I'm like, no, I don't want to do this. I'd be playing Twinkle Twinkle Little Star fine, decently, and stuff like that, but it was that on top of like trying to teach me Tagalog as well. I don't even remember Tagalog. My mom told me that I was apparently fluent in Tagalog, but I don't remember Tagalog, so I'm hoping to relearn Tagalog. Like, let's say, for example, right? This is a phrase that my dad butchers a lot. He says bahala ka buhay mo, but it's supposed to be bahala ka sa buhay mo, right? So, if you guys are familiar with Japanese, right? It's kind of the equivalent to tsukinishiro, which means like do whatever you want. So basically, the translation of like all of that is like, oh, do whatever you want with your life, or like whatever, I don't fucking care, So, and she would throw this phrase around, like this particular phrase, bahala ka sa buhay mo, to me, as in like, if she's frustrated with like whatever I'm doing, she would do that, or she would like, threaten to take the slipper and like slap me if I'm not like learning things properly. Because before, she used to hit me a little bit. She doesn't do that now. But, whatever. So, let's see. The next one. Yeah. Anyway, as time developed, I was like considered like, and I was like told this by my teachers and like other people, that it's like I was considered like a bright kid or a gifted child. But as I grew older, like I said before, I gotten more rebellious over time, and I was the type of person where it was really hard for me to lie. I just could not lie, even if I tried to. But there are times where I was punished for speaking honestly. Like, even if I was speaking the truth, I would always be punished for it. Now, like, every single time whenever I do speak out the truth and stuff like that, I'm always anticipating some sort of backlash that comes with it, which is really unfortunate. Because I don't want to live my life predicated on lies, I got, like, mad at my teacher for calling, like, there are several times whenever I was called bright, or, like, whenever people compliment me, I would always get, like, aggravated and frustrated whenever I was, like, called, like, a bright kid, or called, like, talented and stuff like that, because I'm, like, thinking, okay, that's great, I'm glad that you're telling me all these things, why can't you be like that, because I always felt like I was put in positions where I was, like, better than other people, or, like, smarter than other people, and I don't like that, because it just doesn't give me, like, a challenge. It doesn't give me, like, incentive to, like, have something to, like, back off of. I always feel like I'm, quote unquote, I really hate this. I hate feeling like I'm above other people, you know? I always wanted like an equal, you know? Also, sorry I keep like stuttering and say you know a lot, but I think I've like yet to find someone that I feel can truly balance me out, and instead of like me feeling like I'm better than other people, you know? Because I'm sure that there are other people out there that are like better or brighter than me. It just, I am the type of individual that unfortunately sticks out like a sore thumb. You can't really miss me even if I try. Even if I try to fade out into the background, and I want to fade out into the background, just kind of disappear into nothingness, you know, like that's kind of how it is. So yeah. Let's see what else is here. There's only like 3 more slides, and then afterwards I'll just like and then afterwards I'll like wrap up the stream. So I'll be playing in the mud a lot. Like I would make it like a constant ritual, sort of say, after school, that I would just like go into the backyard and like play with mud and like touch worms and stuff like that. I still want to do that, to be honest. Like I actually want to do gardening whenever I get the chance to, but unfortunately my backyard is so bad. It's like really, really bad that I can't even go in there without feeling disgusted, because typically it's my father's responsibility to upkeep the backyard. And he can't let go of his pride enough to get someone to like either pay someone to work on it or get someone to volunteer to like work in the back. It's just, I don't know. I wanted to have a garden again where I can like have raspberry bushes or something like that. Or like, you know, plant flowers and stuff. I think that would be really nice, but that's just, I don't think that's gonna happen until like years were to come. Years were to come? Is that grammar? Don't mind my grammar. But yeah, even that I'd be ashamed for, like playing in general, playing in the mud, giving mud pies to the monsters. And I would give mud pies to the monsters because, well, the monsters would be like, you know, I don't know if I was talking to the monster, I don't know if I was talking to an imaginary friend. I was always in touch with spirits when I was young, you know? But the monster would be sad and would cry a lot, so I was just like, okay, don't be sad, here's a mud pie. And I would just like, you know, create mud pies, and I would put it on Frisbee discs, and I would put like dandelion flowers. I'm like, here, it's a cake for you, and I would leave it out under overnight. I would leave the mud pies out overnight, and then as I grew older, eventually I started to forget about the monster, and then I came to terms that the monster kept coming back, and I'm like, okay, great, this is my punishment. I forgot to give mud pies to the monster. I'm sorry for not giving you mud pies, okay? I'm sorry that I forgot. I'm laughing at it because I'm nervous, okay? I'm laughing at it because I'm sorry that I forgot to give you mud pies. I'm sorry I neglected you, monster. Okay? This time I'm gonna remember. I'm gonna try to, alright? So don't get mad at me too much. I'm trying to remember. Gosh. Anyway, on top of me doing silly things like playing with mud, playing in the dirt. Wait, there's 2 more, I promise you. I promise you. What happened to my teeth here? Oh, my teeth got knocked out. See this tooth right here? This tooth and this tooth. This right here, this one's, I have a mouth insecurity. I really do have a mouth insecurity. I'm really sorry. This tooth right here is like actually fake. It's like filled in because my first set of teeth got knocked out when I was in the grocery store, and I fell down. I was kind of a clumsy girl when I was younger. And I think this is, again, due to the fact that people did not teach me proper spatial awareness. People did not teach me how to handle myself with poise and grace. People are overall reckless. They're reckless, and they kept dropping me whenever they picked me up. I'm still angry about this. That's why I don't like being held. I want to, like, it's like I want to be held, but then I don't want to be held. You know what I'm saying? But my teeth got oh my God, accidentally knocked out as a kid when I fell over, and my two front teeth, they got knocked out. Of course, it's like, okay, it's natural. You know, kids, baby teeth, they come out all the time. No, I always kept falling all the time. Even like in school, I was telling myself in the third grade, okay, if I fall, I'm not gonna cry. I kept telling myself, when I'm in the third grade, I'm not gonna cry anymore, even when I fall down. That's a lie. Obviously, I still, like, whenever I do fall down, I cry. I cry for, like, a lot of things, but, you know, I would trip over things easily. It just makes me feel stupid. It makes me feel stupid. But yeah, my baby teeth got knocked out, and then my adult teeth got knocked out when I gotten older, when I was like 9 years old. I'll get to that in another stream. And that's why, like, this tooth is fake. And then this other tooth has nerve damage. And it doesn't help that I suck my teeth because, yeah. So, I'm not trying to be a clumsy. I actually really want to be more delicate and gentle. Alright? And I think my clumsiness just stems from a lot of, like, again, lack of proper balance, or being taught how to be fully grounded in my body, you know? So, finally, at the end, which I'll get to in the next stream, of me getting, like, you know, older and stuff like that, this is me with my granny glasses. So whenever, you know, nowadays people think that wearing glasses and stuff is cool and stuff, but back then, even my own teacher made fun of me while I was wearing glasses like these, because we couldn't afford, with our insurance, with my insurance at the time, couldn't afford, like, actual glasses. So I got granny glasses that were, like, half the size of my face, clearly. You know. But other than that, the bear that I'm holding is a similar. This is not the same one. That's Princess Coco the first. This is Princess Coco the third. Well, actually, no, that's Princess Coco the second. Yeah. So I actually had 3 Princess Cocos. This is the third. The one that I'm holding is the second. The reason as to why, is because Princess Coco got, like, what is that? I forgot. She got, oh, why do I keep forgetting? She got wrecked up in the hurricane. So this is why this is the third one. But, yeah, Princess Coco is basically my mini-me. I said this before, but I'll say it again. Princess Coco is basically my mini-me. Because I was very insecure. There were times where people would just, like, kind of make fun of me for, just being clumsy or being kind of stupid. And then they would call me princess in a condescending manner. And I was very insecure of being called princess. I didn't like it. Nowadays, I'm just gonna own up to it. Maybe because my standards are high for dysfunctional people, I don't know. But I think the job of a princess is to exercise humility and make sure that all of her subjects are taken care of, XYZ, yada yada yada. I also didn't have much toys back then, so me having a Build-A-Bear was like a major accomplishment for me. Because Build-A-Bear was like a huge stepping stone in my life. I loved Build-A-Bear a lot. Before her name was Princess Coco, her name actually was named Josie. Josie the bear. But I came to terms that I don't like naming my stuffed animals after humans, so that's why it's Princess Coco. Yeah. And there would even be times where I was, like, bullied for bringing my stuffed animals around with me. That will be touched up on another stream. What will be touched upon in another stream? Me talking about Bearville, because that's, like, a big part of my life. And, yeah. And I also had, like, Bear and Bunny Club, what Bear and Bunny Club or Bunny and Bear Club is just like, again, a club that I made in my own imagination. This is like my own imaginary world of like, okay, I want to actually make like a club where I have good friends, and like, especially my imaginary friend is gonna be there, and we like to play games with each other, like wholesome games, you know, like board games. We watch like kids cartoons and stuff like that, and we eat pizza, just simple things like that. I don't think I've tried to. I mean, I do have like parties every now and then, but I never really had a time where it's like, okay, as a kid, I can be like a kid, I can have a party like a kid, like a normal childhood. And I'm thinking like, when I restart my Bunny and Bear Club, which is just like my own personal endeavor, when I restart it, it's gonna make me feel like I can reclaim the things I never had when I was growing up, you know? Like having a proper chance at a normal childhood, me restarting that, because I don't think there's ever a point where you're too old to have fun like a little kid again. Even if people may think that it's like, oh, you're too old for that, or da-da-da. I don't care, you know? Eventually, we're all gonna die one day, and I'd rather spend my life doing quote-unquote little kid things, enjoying those things, than to go out partying, like, drugs, like, constantly, like, sharing my body. I mean, like, again, there's no shame in, like, people who are doing sex work. I'm not shaming people like that. But, you know, I don't want to go out and do dangerous things. I think there's more to life than that. And you can have fun while discovering all of, like, the wholesome, like, innocent things in life, too. At least that's what I believe. To wrap everything up with what I said, as far as my whole entire childhood goes, I was really wanting a stable life. Like I said before, I don't really have people that I can truly call my family, let alone, I don't really have many quote-unquote friends, like real friends. That's why, you know, I'm kind of weird or eccentric whenever I express myself, and even the people that you see on surface value that I do interact with, that's really just it. Just surface value interactions. There are a few handful of people that I truly feel like I could be deep with, but there's not many people out there that I can really feel like I can be myself around. And I'm hoping as time elapses, I can show you guys more of just real me and be more comfortable being myself, no matter what other people think of me, you know? So, yeah, that's pretty much it. Does anyone have any questions, comments, concerns about anything that I said so far? Because I know that I touched upon a lot. It's a lot of things that I addressed. Here's pertaining. Okay. Now pertaining to the last stream, some rando came up with like the whole femcel thing. Yeah. So actually, again, like I said before, I didn't know what the word incel meant until I looked it up. But I wanted to talk about this. Like, I wanted to come up with this point, actually, on the previous stream. Regarding the whole incel argument or whatnot. But I really don't like that term the more that I think about it. Either like incel or femcel. Because like not only are you coming off really edgy when you do say those things, but it just like, it seems like it's something to throw around to like over glorify people who had like sexual relationships with one others. Or it's like even terms like slut or whores like degrade those who have sexual behavior, and I don't like those terms either. Like it's not, it's the same as like calling someone a prude if they didn't have like particular sexual experiences, you know. And I don't like it. It's like I can understand people using labels to describe or define specific traits in others, but the reason as to why it's like kind of, it's not like really getting on my nerves, but like like, it was floating in my brain is that I know this is a stranger that came on, but it just seemed like they didn't even like take the time to really ask what's going on in the stream. Like, what are you even talking about? They kind of just flat outright said it, and lots of people will be like, oh, well, don't just ignore those people. Don't listen to the haters, XYZ. When you actually think about it, every anonymous person, there's always a human being behind every anonymous like username. There's always a thought process. There's always like a reason as to like why. I mean, like, maybe they can't think of the reason at the moment, but there's always a reason as to why someone would say just some stupid stuff out of nowhere, you know? And I feel like people who use buzzwords like that tend to oversimplify people's complexities like way too heavily. And maybe that's just like a thing that was pondering in my mind, because I'm hoping that whoever does touch back to watch on the stream, they really think about the things that come, like, they think about the words that they say to other people, because that's a lesson that I'm still trying to learn. Because words have a lot of impact in the way that you say it and how people can internalize those messages you know? I think they're very fortunate that I have a thick enough skin to not be too phased whenever those words do get thrown around, because I know who I am and I know that I'm definitely not those things, you know? Especially when it's like, what is that? The word high strung. When they said high strung, right? I didn't know what the word high strung was either. And then I had to look it up and I'm like, oh, calling someone that they're high strung has a negative connotation to it. You know what I'm saying? So actually, let me like get to it. Get to this other, let me go to, let me go to the main stage in my live stream here. But yeah. But yeah, I don't know. Oh, and I remember him, I don't know if it was a him. People can pretend to be guys all that they want, but them saying that like I'm a nice girl, I have to think about it. I'm like, wait a minute, I'm not a nice person. I don't like using the word calling myself nice. I'm a kind person, but I'm not a nice person, because I think there's a difference between the two. But yeah, I just wanted to address that. And of course, I'm not going to censor people, because like people are free to say whatever they want so long as it's the truth. That's the main key ingredient here. People are free to say whatever they want, but they don't have freedom of consequences. So I'd rather people be straight up honest with me rather than just someone like, you know, spewing a bunch of bullcrap, you know? But yeah. And okay, finally. This is like a final thing that I want to say, because I know that I talked about what is that in my last live stream about like the whole Machina thing and whatnot, but I want to reiterate again, because the reason why I'm getting like a little bit anxiety or a little bit fearful is because I mean, my reputation is already not that great to begin with, but as a way to kind of restore whatever shit that I put out there, I want to make it very, very clear that I'm not going to disregard the things that they have done. I'm not trying to make excuses for them. And on top of that, I don't want to come off as if I was an opportunist in the situation, as in like, oh, Julian got together with this guy, this producer guy, or Rio, whatever. She just got together with him just because she's an opportunist. And I'm like, no, that's definitely not the case. All right. So whoever thinks that way clearly just does not take the time to get to know me or the situation or anything that happened. You know, there's so many things that happened between us that I really want to actually talk about, and it sucks because it's like there's no, like, unfortunately, Dawn is like constantly floating in my brain a lot. The whole situation that happened between me and him, it's always on my mind. And if there was an opportunity where I was able to, like, actually talk to him and like, have a civil conversation, I would want to talk about him. Like, what the fuck just happened? You know? I mean, I could piece together as much as I possibly could, but, you know, there's only so much that I can, that my mind can fill the blanks in. And I just don't want to allow the situation to have power over me anymore, you know? But who knows? Time will tell. But this probably is just like a situation. Probably. Who knows? I don't know. This is probably just a situation where it's like, yeah, I got trolled heavily, gotten taken advantage of, used up like a dirty dish rag, and just kind of thrown into the fucking trash. That's it. I feel like that's the most of the situation that I felt in regards to him, which is unfortunate, because I genuinely, like, and I say this with, like, the utmost sincerity. I genuinely wanted to make music with him. I genuinely wanted to be friends with them, you know? When I say them, as in, like, everyone that was involved. I genuinely wanted to have wholesome interactions with people. I never wanted to start an argument. I never wanted to start a fight. Yes, I mean, I am willing to have arguments if I feel like at the end of it there's going to come to some sort of, like, resolution. But life doesn't work out that way. At least in this current time-space reality, life doesn't work in that regard. So, I just wish I wish I knew I mean, like, I'm not going to shame myself too much. I'm not going to guilt trip myself too much, but I wish I knew the things that I knew now back then. Of course, like, people make mistakes, and that's totally fine. I know that I am not, what's the word? I'm not, like, the best example or what have you, but at least I can confidently say that I've tried my very best, despite everything, you know? And if people think that I'm toxic for dredging it back up again, whatever. Nature repeats in cycles, whether you like it or not. Old things will always come to the surface. Old things will always come to the light. So, if you think that there's ever a scenario where you've done things in the dark, and you think that that's going to be hidden forever, best be known that it will always come back to you in one way or another. In one shape or form, or what have you. That's all that I wanted to say. And I know that not many people are listening to me, and that's okay, because I'm just used to being ignored constantly. Even when I try my best to be a voice of reason. In times where sometimes I may feel like I'm unreasonable. That's the tricky thing too. You know, a lot of people will look at someone who is emotionally distraught, or they look like they're manic, or they look like they're off their rocker. But if you actually took the time to pull them off to the side and get to really understand them and listen to them, you'll maybe learn things that you never really known before. And I genuinely felt like that was the case between me and Don. Because when I did take the time to get to know him, when I did take the time to get to talk to him, you know, and again, maybe me bringing up his name over and over and over again is bringing them negative attention, bringing them narcissistic supply, or whatever the fuck, you know? I can't help but shake the feeling that it's like what transpired between my interactions with him I felt, you know, and this could be left up to interpretation. I just felt like I was under the assumption that he was in a very abusive situation. And I sacrificed a lot. I genuinely I sacrificed money that I barely had to go travel to see them, you know? I took precious time out of, like, my day, like, not day, precious time out of my sleeping schedule to stay up and just, like, talk things through. And even when everything was going badly, I tried my best to be comforting, you know? And what really bothered me was him just not taking care of himself and him taking out all that anger out of me. And that's trauma that has scarred, like, the scar of that is still imprinted in me. Even though I've tried whatever best way that I could to heal from the situation, it's like I said before, moving on is a myth. The pain is always going to be there with you. And maybe these, like, heart issues that I'm dealing with, like, these, like, incessant heart palpitations, because I had, like, an argument with my dad the other day, and him saying, like, because, you know, he was trying to start up drama with me, and I called him out on it, and, he was like, oh, you're gonna give me a stroke, and I'm just like, it's funny that you say that, because I feel the past, few months now, increasingly, that I may have a stroke, that I may have a heart attack. There are times where I get, like, so petrified dealing with, like, all of these, like, hallucinations that I have to wear, like, sorry, this is TMI, but, like, I have to wear an adult diaper sometimes because I feel like I'm gonna, like, empty myself out because of how traumatizing it is. And that's a type of injustice that I don't know if will ever heal, if that's a word. I don't know. But then the question comes to play of, like, do I even want there to be justice when everything has transpired? And I also ask myself constantly, even before he came into the picture, do I even want a life like this? Did I even want to exist in this manner? I don't know. Existential questions, like, always pop up in my mind constantly. And it makes it hard for me to set my sights on a particular goal or what I want out of life or what I want in the future, because then I'm like, why does it matter? Why does the future matter if all I keep getting is just repeating days over and over and over again? The same scenarios that keep replaying over and over and over again, like a broken record tape. And it's like, if it's not with one person, it's always going to be with another. And it's like the same carbon copy of the same person in just different bodies. And it gets sickening. It gets sickening to navigate. You know, where is the heart in all of this? And what is the purpose in all of this? Part of me knows, but then another part of me doesn't know. And whenever I do reach the proverbial end of it, can I really say that it was worth it? Because there are many times where I've seen the quote-unquote end. And I'm not trying to be, like, too, like, you know, pseudo-philosophical or whatever the fuck. But I've seen enough. I've seen too much. That it's like, whatever little reward that I get, I don't even know if I'm going to be satisfied with it. Whether it be an apology, which is way too late for that, whether it be some sort of friendship with real people, some sort of healthy relationship. Even having the motivation to get up in the morning, do basic things, let alone sing. That's been kaput for the longest time. I've grown so apathetic towards lots of things that the only way for me to retain some sort of sanity is to go back. And maybe that's a form of regression. You know, maybe that's me holding myself back. Because I can't really understand my future if I don't understand my past and why it brought me to this place to begin with, right? Who knows? All I know is that it must really suck. And I'm not talking about just people. Like, I'm not talking about me, because I'm not trying to be a martyr or something like that, but it just really sucks, I guess. For those who have the purest of tensions, people who have a heart of gold. And I've met a few handful of those people. And they've come across the most shittiest circumstances. The most awful circumstances, yet they still have the tenacity to keep smiling, to keep having some sort of joy in their life. Meanwhile, there's plenty of others that put on a front, that just fake it, and they're so entitled that they have everything that other people are begging and screaming for, and they take it for granted and they waste it every single day. And that I just simply can't understand. And I guess the unfortunate part between me and him is that we're just two polar opposites in different worlds. Part of me wants it to merge, but then another part of me is like, do I really want to get involved with something like that? Because I only know to a certain extent of how bad it is. And it could get worse. Anything could get worse. Anything could get better, or anything could get worse. Who knows? I don't even know why I still continue. Again, lots of questions. Lots of questions that anyone can answer. Anything can be up to interpretation. I just hope that wherever he is and wherever all these other people are in life, I hope they genuinely take the time to not only reflect and heal from their behavior, but I pray that it doesn't repeat again with someone else. That's the most that I can do. Because I don't want it to. Sorry, I'm pausing. There's just a lot of undescribable emotions that, like, I'm feeling like all kind of congealing into one massive entity that I can't really describe. And I don't know, when I look at myself in the reflection of this computer screen too, I don't know if I'm ashamed of myself, I don't know if I'm disappointed in myself, or I don't know if I'm satisfied with myself, or if I'm proud. Should I be proud? Should I be neither, or should I be both? I'm just talking to myself, like usual. And I could become many different things. I don't have to be the same person. I mean, tomorrow I could probably be someone that you barely even recognize. But I still kind of want to be me, the way that I am right now. Whoever that is. Yeah. Sorry about that, fellas. I don't want to get too deep with you guys, because I know that I would have these conversations for hours just simply by myself. But thank you for coming to my live stream. And is there anything else that I wanted to address? There's a lot of notes that I wrote in particular regarding Dawn. And I'm not trying to come off as if like I'm obsessive or anything. You know, when someone affects your life that greatly, you can't help but fixate on it. Yeah. I don't know. Life is painful. Life is stupid. So I shouldn't have to worry about it. I really shouldn't. 'Cause it shouldn't be my concern. It isn't my concern. Not anymore. Used to be. Well, maybe that's my fault for caring in the first place. Can't really help it. That's kind of part of my innate nature, is to care. Even if I don't know them. And maybe I didn't know him at all. Maybe the only thing that I fell for was just simply a mirage. Okay. Now I'm gonna go. I'll talk to you guys later. Take care. Stay safe.